We're live. We already went live. We're live. This is Cheryl.
Hi. This is Mandy.
Hi.
Thank you. This is Mandy. Wait a minute. Script. That's Mandy.
And we're here at Cook's Coffee. Cook's Coffee. I haven't drank my coffee yet, but they have great coffee. Cheers.
Cheers. They don't endorse us. We're working on it.
We're working on it. Yeah.
We love the atmosphere. Yeah. It's independently owned and operated here in Santa Rosa. And really good coffee. And what did you say about the pastries earlier?
Oh, the pastries are because, sometimes you go to a coffee shop and the pastries are, their pastries here, it's kind of like, they should say Cook's Bakery. So they're really good. Variety. Yeah?
The quiche.
Yeah.
We could just go in. Hi, Jeff. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
So
we're still all trying to figure out where to look.
We're trying to wake. Yeah, we're trying to even just wake up. Hey, Mike. Good morning.
Hi, Mom.
So we're discussing this book called The Heart of the Artist, and a character building guide for your ministry team. But it applies to just not just ministry teams, but it is Christian based, so that's what's really cool. But first, I wanted to introduce Cheryl Holling here. She does voiceovers, and her card is even on a thing back there.
Ooh, did you see how the light kind of almost lit it up?
She does voiceovers. She used to be I need more coffee. Talk show host for KRCB.
Well,
Yes.
actually, I programmed one of the music segments.
Okay. And she does voiceovers. She has all sorts of different voices that she can do. And what project are you working on right now, Cheryl?
I'm working on a podcast, actually.
Excellent.
I just sent off the introduction along with a spec spot to a potential sponsor.
Awesome.
And it highlights artists who are in their later years, 55 and older, who are finally coming into their heart's desires. And
send coffee to Houston. I ran out. Okay, well,
Billy.
We're going to be coming through Houston. Well, actually through Texas in July. Yeah. So it's Small Hat Family Band.
And I may be going to. Are you going in July?
Yeah. Or no, June and July.
Okay, because I'm going to Austin July 7th. I think it is. July
Okay.
6th,
Well, it's a
July
big
7th.
state.
Anyway.
This is Houston. So if you hook us up with a gig in Houston, I will bring you some
I know
coffee
it's a
from
big state.
California.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to study geography. We're going to start out in California.
Okay, but we were talking about something.
What's the map? Anyway.
We were talking about you. We were talking about what you did.
I think
voiceovers.
I think that's enough. You can go to my website, soundsactualstudios.com, and check out my bio. My demos are on there. If there's a way that I can be a resource for you to either do a promo for your music or artistic endeavor or your voicemail, or if I can help you out anyway, let me know.
She's awesome.
And do I need to introduce Mandy Brooks?
I thought you never asked.
I will. I still don't know where. I feel like I'm cross eyed. I don't really know where to look.
I know. I don't know where to look
Is
either.
it on the camera's on? You wouldn't know I do on camera work. Is this on? Is the light on? What's the light mean? Does it mean to shut up? Mandy is, I think she has three people in one, because there isn't anything that Mandy doesn't do. Besides being a huge artist advocate for the community, seriously. She just gave away a guitar to a woman who, her guitar was on the fritz, and Mandy got one donated. She presented
Loud and Clear Music. Thank you, Neville.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Neville.
that was awesome.
Presented it to her last night.
That was fun.
And but she has Small Hat, which is, can I say it's her family?
Yeah.
Her family band. Which, how many kids want to hang out with their mom and do music? That just says enough right there. She has her individual career. She is the Christian Creative Collective, Women in Music. She started here in Sonoma County.
I'm tired.
And her.
Hey, Bob, Mr. B.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob just joined us. Sorry to interrupt you because you were saying lots of good things. I just want to say Bob is has opened, just recently opened a venue called The Will Call. And we're going to be there this Friday night playing music with Small
Tomorrow
Hat.
night?
Yeah, tomorrow night. And Cheryl's going to be there. It is awesome. It is has lights and sound and is a great place to come hang out. So, yeah. He's saying Z.
Like
Drink some
asleep?
coffee.
What are we putting you to sleep?
Come on.
What, you can always get disconnect.
Oh, laugh out loud. Amen.
Oh.
Okay.
So
We're coming on Friday, and Cheryl's coming, and she's going to be doing some emceeing and stuff.
I guess so.
Yeah, we think so. Yeah.
I'm going to be doing some rap. No,
She's
I
rapping.
But hey, Billy, if you want to get on a plane now and make it for tomorrow night, we'll buy you a cup of coffee.
Yeah, we'll buy a cup of coffee.
In fact, my husband works at a coffee company. I'll give you a pound of coffee.
Yeah. Oh, and Bob says he owes us. Great. Bob will be donating the coffee. Bob will be buying us coffee. Okay, so we better get serious here because we're really here to talk about. Okay, so this all happened a couple of weeks ago. I want to say we had got together with coffee, and I am so hungry to talk about God, and I'm so hungry to talk about God and to have fellowship. And even why I started Christian Creative Collective is because as an artist, as a musician, anything in the art, sometimes it can be a lonely endeavor, and sometimes there can be misunderstanding. You get misunderstood as an artist, and especially, too, also in the church or something. So to have this camaraderie, to have this accountability as an artist when you're out there dealing in that kind of industry. So when I met with Coffee with Cheryl the other week, she told me about this outstanding book. Can you show them the book? The Heart of the Artist. And I thought that would be a really cool thing to kind of incorporate as a Bible study. And if it has something to do with art, then I'm really into it.
Yeah, because it was definitely geared towards musicians in the church, but it really addresses how we come to our art, whether we're visual, audible, filmmakers, whatever it is we're doing, to acknowledge where our gift comes from and to give glory to that when we're pursuing our art, as opposed to it just being self-serving, and realizing, much like Mandy does, it's not just what you get, it's what you give as well. Because otherwise it's self-serving and it goes nowhere.
Yeah. And being a support to each other. Yeah,
Absolutely.
lifting each other up, because like Sue Moore always says, we're not meant to create alone. We're supposed to create together. So I had posted earlier that we were going to discuss chapter 2 today, but actually it's really chapter 1, because I was listening on audio, and what I thought was chapter 1 was the introduction, and I thought I was starting to listen to chapter 2, but it's really chapter 1.
So did you get that?
So chapter 2 is called Proven Character. And I thought this was really interesting. One of the points that they made in this, and that Rory made in this, was that that we can't just go on talent alone. That he was saying sometimes they asked, would you rather have someone in the church serving who is of good character or talent? He said he wants somebody who's both. So I think that's our challenge as artists in the church, is not just to ride on our talent alone. Do you have something?
Well, one of my takeaways from that is that you can have great talent with no character, but you can have talent that can be developed and you can work on it. And he talks a lot about people who have auditioned for, he was the former worship director for Willow Creek, in case you're wondering who Rory Noland is, the author of the book. And he was talking about people who would audition and they just weren't quite ready for where they were at, because they presented at a very high level, but really strong character and really strong in the word. And they'd go work on their craft and come back and then be an integral part of the worship team. So I think it's important because right now, when I keep putting out for my auditions, even though I believe it's really good, the competition right now in voiceover is unlike any other time. And so that just means that I need to work that much more on my craft. But my base is where it comes from, and relying on that strength. So I think that's important. And I love the fact that we have, feel like it's, do you remember Romper Room? Hi, I see Bob, and I see Billy. But to have you here with us, because that means that you are possibly craving the same thing.
Yeah, and I know that we don't serve on a regular worship team. Sometimes we'll do sit-ins for worship teams. But I think even being out, bringing our music out into our community, that having that character matters. Stay intimate with Jesus. The parable of the talents. Jesus has dominion over everything. Yes, Bob Bujega, that intimate relationship with Jesus, staying connected into it, is the key.
And the other thing I was going to say, because you mentioned music and serving on a worship team, sometimes I come from a church where they incorporate readings and dance and theater.
Yes.
And all of the arts, and painting and photography and video. And sometimes even within the church, that's not welcomed, because we just don't do church that way. And that's why it's even more important when you're getting rejected from what I guess your people, to be reminded, like Bob said, the basis of where it comes from, who's going to bless it, and creating the outlet so that you can do that. And I know for myself and my husband, who's a drummer, an amazing drummer, we're in search of a place where we can serve and understand that we're coming with the heart. And we just need to find an outlet to express it. The
fullness to express it. And I think the author Rory brought that up in the chapter. He made a narrative of this young man who's going to apply for a position of a worship leader in a church. And he started asking them, well, do you have drama in your church? Do you have dance in your church? And it was making the pastor a little uncomfortable to incorporate those things. And so I think those are important outlets to recognize in people, in our community, in our congregation, that these are all a part of the whole vibrant expression of God and our experience in God, just like as they are in the schools, in our communities. We don't want to stop art in the schools, and that's one of the first things that they shut down. We don't want to stop art and music in our communities. Why would we want to stop it in our church when we serve the master who created all of this?
Absolutely. And also, I think, to not take it personal if someone isn't ready to receive that. Just like we don't in the secular world, if you will. If someone isn't ready for your talent, move on. And especially as we get older, we don't have time. God's going to open up the right opportunities, the right channels, the right people will come into your life. But I know in my past, I've chased after things going, well, but you have to see how right I am for your project.
Or try to change the people.
You know what? No. Mm-mm. It's even, dust off your shoes and move on. Because if you're not welcome somewhere, you just keep on moving on. And it doesn't mean the church or the people are horrible people. It just means they're not receptive to what you have to offer.
Or trying to get validation for who you are as an artist from sometimes not just in church leadership, but from anybody. It's like, will you validate me that I can actually do this?
Give me more likes on my Instagram. Give me more likes on my Facebook. Just,
Yeah. Or with church leadership, I think is the point. I think was one of my struggles is I would go into a church and they wouldn't recognize what I thought they needed to recognize about me. And so I would try to prove to them, you really need to have this, I really want to do this. And they wouldn't see that maybe arts was an important part of the church. And so like you were saying, instead of just kind of accepting that and moving on, I would get stuck in trying to change it and feel bad about myself as an artist, instead of putting myself into an atmosphere where people were encouraging me and lifting me up.
And you know, it's hard. We live in a society right now where we a lot of us do, well, people do take their value from social media because that's just kind of where we're at. It's a different, I also was, I'm from Los Angeles, and I knew some amazing actors who were literally told, you do not have enough following for me to cast you in this role. And it would just break my heart. I'm thinking, are you kidding? You're going to pass over someone who is absolutely what you need, who's going to make your job easier because you can stop working and start concentrating on your project. But because they don't have enough followers, you're going to pass them up. How about you put the perfect person in your project takes off, and guess what? You get the followers. So it's a weird, like you said, of where you get your value.
Right.
How do you wrap your head around that? Well, you stay in community. You read books like this. You show up for one another. I mean, like you were showing up for us this morning. This is so
I know,
awesome.
I see. And hey, there's my Uncle Joe Orlando. He joined from San Jose. And Emily C.
Good morning.
So, this is one thing that, and Jody Alton, I love you, Jody. She's
Hi,
at
Jody.
work.
Oh,
And we
for
miss
the
you.
man.
Okay, yeah.
And
And we
missing
wish
Bob
you
and
could be with us, and you're an awesome chick, too.
So here, if I can share, is it okay that I share what you wrote, Jody?
It's posted, like people can read it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do use social media. Anyway, that's very funny. Thank you. This is exactly what she wrote about missing this time and hating what she's doing. We're here to empower each other to pursue what's in our hearts.
Yes.
I mean, what if I can call you up for a moment, Bob, and what you're doing with the Will Call? How many years has he been working on?
I think 3 or 4
years,
three or four
years, and it's
He's
finally
persevered.
coming to fruition. But you've persevered, and you've
Mhm.
brought people into
Mhm.
your midst that can help you birth this, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It's a testament to your faith. It's a testament to pulling in community, because, as Mandy said, you don't get a film made with one person. You can. You go through a handheld and it becomes,
Yeah.
you know, a cult. But for music, you need musicians. You need a studio. You need equipment. For what I do, I'm kind of, you know, I'm the talent. I'm my engineer. I'm my editor. But I need coaches. I need an agent. I need people to hire me. I can't say that I'm a solopreneur other than the business side of it and the talent, but I need everything.
We need everybody
We need
around us.
everybody.
We need a team. Yeah.
So, Jody, I just want to encourage you to, find your peeps. We're here.
Yeah, we
and in
are
any
your
way
peeps.
we can
Yeah.
help you with your project, we will.
And, I think it's places like Bob Bujega's, like we were talking about in the church, a lot of times there are a lot of supportive church that are supportive and nourishing and growing the arts. And what I'm really enjoying is places like Bob Bujega's Will Call that's opening up, that provides those platforms outside of the churches, that recognizes and supports Christian artists and gives them value. And so, this was part of Bob's whole heart and I think what's given him this motivation to keep on going is his belief in the arts and wanting to support Christian arts. And what you had mentioned about the longevity of our careers as artists, and finding our value in Christ, and focusing on that, and abiding in His Spirit, like Bob was saying, and the point that Rory made in this book in chapter 1 about character is that our destiny or our success doesn't entirely hinge on what we do as artists. It hinges on who we are as people. That wraps back up into what is our personal relationship with Christ. And I think that we can try to perfect our craft, which I think it's important to be as good as we can be. But also simultaneously, we need to be working on our character. And I can't do that alone. I have to be in fellowship and relationship with for people to refine myself and in the Word.
To be accountable.
To be accountable.
And hi,
Yeah.
Stefan, and anyone else who's joined us
Hey,
recently.
Stefan.
Hi. I want to touch on what you just said. If we look at what's going on in the news, especially with what came out yesterday about, and it's nothing new, it's been happening, but it's obviously become so egregious it finally hit the news about all the payola and manipulation to get kids in Ivy League schools.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
And very famous, high-profile people. So they have the success.
What are they doing?
They're paying for their kids to get into Ivy League schools. They're manipulating their pictures onto athletes' bodies to say that they can be on athletic teams so that they can get. Anyway,
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah. So my point being is there's several high-profile people in the entertainment business who are now looking at facing jail time. Well, they have all the success, but what was their character? What did they bring to the table? Were they changed by their wealthy success, or were they like that Eddie man that just exacerbated what was there? So
that's a good point. And another point that Rory made in this book is when you're not on the stage, or when you're not, at your art show, or you're not on social media, who are you? Who are you in the privacy of your own home? And obviously, we're all sinners. But
I never messed up. I'm perfect every single day.
And we always have our makeup on, and we're always smiling like this. But I think that's the challenge of.
I've heard it said another way that
Yeah.
Integrity is who you are when no one's looking.
Yeah.
And I blow it every day. I take an inventory at the end of every day and go, how was I with this person? Was I loving? Was I kind? Did I react in a way that I would want to? And unfortunately, there are times I have to say no. I mean, and that's also, I think, a good point to remember grace when we do mess up and we're not kind.
That's
right. When someone isn't kind to us, everybody you meet is going through something. Everybody.
Right.
And you don't know what's behind it.
And other point that he made in this book is that artists, we can have certain parts of our character that a lot of times maybe other people in the church who have those artistically inclined could be judgmental, because we can tend to be sensitive. We can tend to be melancholy. We can tend to be emotional. I use my voice to express, and sometimes I get a little expressive with my voice.
And the thing is, that's not a bad thing.
It's not.
It's
when it's tempered.
Right. It's keeping it in a way, like, unfortunately, I always felt like speaking the truth was the most important thing. Well, it is, but it's how you say it. Are you losing someone with the delivery of your message? Right?
Right.
Or are you speaking in a way that they're receiving it and will allow them to be receptive to that? Because I know in the past, I've just, it's like the New Yorker in me.
Because that's part of our passion as an artist, right?
Never lived in New York. Well, no, I lived in New York, but I'm not from New York. But people will say, "Are you from New York?" And I go, "No." Why? And they go, "Because you just say it like it is." And I'm like, "Well, why be otherwise?" But then I realized you can do damage that way, especially if someone really needs you to come alongside in a loving, Christ-like way versus you just need to get it together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think as artists, one of our challenges is knowing that we could possibly have these sensitive personalities, which is our gift to the church, is to help bring people through the arts to see this is God's creation. This is what we need to do. We need, the intuitive, empathetic, sensitive nature, but we also have to temper that and make sure that we are walking in good character, so that the church and the other people who are in the church or out of the church don't see us as like, oh, those artsy types who are all over the map with their emotions.
Well, he actually said it perfectly. He said, we don't need more insensitive people. We need more sensitive people.
Yes.
Because if you look at what's happening in the world, we're becoming so desensitized. If we just take Santa Rosa here, the amount of violence and anger and there's a tension here that is, I think, just representative of what's going on a larger scale. And if we desensitize ourselves to that, then we become immobile, we become complacent, and we don't do anything to help one another. So again, being more sensitive, if you will, but balancing that out with how do you express that? So either, you're crying in your soup and be like, oh, thank you, that's good with that, I'll see you later, or you're blowing them out of the water because you're just too tough.
Yeah, and bringing that sensitivity and beauty, right? Bringing art and beauty to our community to soften those areas, like you're saying, where there's tension. To soften, to speak to people's heart through God's love, through the art that can speak the Holy Spirit, I think, in ways that other forms, can't. Just standing up and lecturing somebody or something through the arts and music can soften those places in our community where there's tension. So in chapter 1, where they're talking about character, because we have about 3 more minutes here to
and
go.
I have an idea before.
Okay.
No, I want you to go ahead.
Okay, so then I'll do 1.5 minutes and do one.
You can have 2.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Because you bought the coffee today, then I will. Okay, so
You just used up about 20 seconds.
I know. Okay, sorry. So because chapter 1 is about character, what is the kind of character that God wants us to have, and because, like Bob said, our goal is to let people see Jesus in you by who you are. You are wonderful, blessed ladies. Thank you. So our character should be loving, a clear conscience, and we have a relationship with the Lord. So Rory says that that we work on our character to be loving, a clear conscience, and a relationship with the Lord, walking in that kind of character.
And with it in mind, I'm not sure how we would do this, but if there's people here who want to connect and can come alongside each other to be either prayer partners, accountability partners,
mentors,
mentees.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
For sure. Yeah.
We're having fun, and Mandy's managing to drag me out and meet at 8 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I get up at about 4 or 5 in the morning.
Good.
It's good. It's good to get out and have to put on a little something
That's
to be
right.
presentable. That's right. But it's really about connecting as a community and how we can come alongside each other, because my husband and I are both about to meet with a mentor that Mandy's been working with, because we're at a place in both of our projects where we just need that extra.
Soon more.
We need
she's
someone
awesome.
from the outside.
Yeah, we do.
This is what you could be doing, and let me give you a vision for that. And then it doesn't mean, it's kind of like when a director gives you, one of the best acting coaches I had said, look, a director is there to direct you in his or her vision of that, but he or she chose you because of your artistry. So it doesn't mean you draw everything, but you add what the director is giving you, and you work together as a team. And that's what I believe a mentor is someone to come alongside you and kind of give you an objective point of view of where you're at, but take what you've already brought to the table and you work together.
I think that's a really important point, having a mentor.
Yes.
Yeah, having a mentor is very important point.
So.
A creative mentor who understands about the creative process in Christianity and Christ.
Well, because we work so much alone, especially me. I sit in my booth, and it's fun. I love what I do, but unless I get out amongst people and network and socialize and have coffee, quirky talk, you can just spin and get caught up in, like I say, just this myopic view of what your vision is.
Yes. So I would like to.
Open it up for questions or
Okay. Bob said he's going to do up his hair, and he'll be right down. I always think a perm would look really good.
I think a tiara.
A tiara. Okay.
Maybe we'll wear tiaras next time.
So I just want to, finally say if there's any questions, but and if there's anybody, so important we lose people not following up ministries after people
Yes,
get in the
right.
church. Yeah. I just want to say that, like Cheryl, support that point that we are here together to support each other, and that is the point here of Christian Creative Collective, is not to just be one thing out for its own, but just to say, hey, we're out here and we want to connect with you, and we want to validate you as an artist, a musician, producer, whatever you're doing in your artistic. We want to encourage you. We want to recognize you and say that you have importance and you have value, and God created you to do this, and be encouraged, and take that talent and the gift and be the difference in your community and
In your family.
in your families. Yeah, wherever you're called, wherever you're called. So, amen. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for
Do we
all
want
your
to ask if
comments.
there's any questions?
Any questions that we're experts in this field that we can answer. But otherwise, we'll see you. We'll see you around. See you at the Will Call if you're around there tomorrow night. And
Please come out.
Please come out.
and support Bob and Mandy and Small Hat
And
and
Cheryl.
and Lenny Trujillo.
Oh, yeah, Lenny will be
and,
there.
Who else? Who am I missing?
I'm not sure,
Anybody
but
else?
anybody else.
And
join us at Crook's Coffee next time. If you want to, Andrew, you got to come join us for coffee next time. Got to come hang out with us. But yeah, come down to Crook's Coffee and have something to say next week. We'll really be discussing chapter 2 next week.
So I have to read another chapter.
Another chapter, yeah, or listen to an audiobook.
No.
Good morning.
Thank you.
We love
Have
you.
a blessed day.
Keep creating. We love all you guys.
Reach out to each other. Reach
Yeah.
out to us.
Yeah.
Keep on keeping on, because it's there's a lot of good things happening.
That's
And
right.
I'm so glad that we started this.
Bye.